Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, my fellow YouTubers. Welcome to another edition of Mary Sky Read-A-Lee's video blog of Mary Sky. So we're going to speed this up tonight, and I'm going to get right to the point. So, the death of food stamps. Food stamps, there's a repercussion. Anytime there's an action, there's a reaction. By the way, if you're new to the channel, hit the like, subscribe, thumbs up button. Keeps comments nice, is all we ask. So, with the repercussion, cut food stamps out. It cuts out 42 million people, which cuts out possibly half of those people that's not on SSI, not on survivors benefits. They lose their government phone. So you lose your food stamps, you lose your government phone. Heck, as of between November and January 1st, a lot of people, they say 40 plus million people. Some are saying it's 15 million, some say it's 40 million, some say it's 80 million. But then you lose your Medicaid. Well, I'm on Medicare, so... But anyways, if you have Medicare, you may be able to qualify barely for an Obama phone. But you have to have survivors, and you have to have certain government housing programs. Now, the repercussions is there. You take out food stamps, you lose your Obama phone, which could literally lose 2/3 of the grocery stores in this country. And you say, oh, well, it doesn't matter, really. So you don't mind going to the grocery store and finding out your mom and pop grocery store went under because the government's subsidizing that grocery store to stay open by accepting food stamps. Then what happens when you got to go 40 miles away to gas, go to your Walmart because Joe Bob says it doesn't matter to him if his store goes under in his little town, and then he finds out it's 40 miles one way in a gas guzzling pickup truck, for example. So there's always a repercussion. And are we subsidizing gas? No, we're not. And if we were, well, we'd be subsidizing it by stealing it from other countries. Now, Medicaid gets cut. People will not be getting to be seen by doctors. Doctors will see clinics. Clinics will close. Clinics close. Then you have to travel longer, and the elderly may just have to live in suburbs or in old folks' homes, which won't be subsidized much longer, which means things are going to fall apart. Which means, again, now a lot of people sit there and say, oh, well, I'm on disability, I'm doing great, really. So you don't mind if you lose your food stamps and you got to live on ramen the rest of your life because that's all you can afford. Which, by the way, a lot of people have asked me time and time again, Rita, how can you help afford Christmas? How can you afford Easter? How can you afford food? How can you live? I don't own a car, so that's another expense. If you live in an area with walking distance, as Zoe knows, I miss Zoe. Then Zoe, literally, great moderator, Zoe realizes, you don't need a car. Cars cost money. I mean, look, boats cost money. I know a guy bought a boat. More maintenance than what you want to put into. You're always maintenance. If you screw up, you can be stuck off in the Sailor Sea, broke down for days, waiting for a towboat coming to get you because, well, it can break easy. And it's scary. And then, yeah, waste of money. Then you buy a motorhome. Okay, people say, oh, well, I'm going to get a motorhome. I'm going to travel. Really, what happens if that motorhome's refrigerator breaks and you got to spend $6,000 to replace it because it's a specialty item where you have to take it out, disassemble it piece by piece with a specialist. Take it all apart. It has to be like a dual or tri-ranged refrigerator. Propane, electric, and gas, or propane, electric, LP, whatever, maybe even solar if you have a solar panel. And, well, it costs money. Then if you live in a motorhome, you have to have a specialty stove installed with gas lines and this and that. And then people say, oh, well, you see what I'm saying? So everything costs money. Now, the government cuts its corners. Then people are going to realize they can't afford food, which means they're going to have to cut corners. And a lot of people don't want to sit there. I mean, I argue with my adopted brother, Ted. What do you need a car for? You sit there and you stay home. A lot of people are going to basically get rid of their car. They're going to basically look and try to apply for programs. Like government has taxi programs. They get groceries once a week. And they'll be like $7 to go to town to get groceries. Or $14 a week. They'll budget their money to pay for the program to get them their groceries. And if the food bank can deliver, they'll do that too to save money. They'll sign up for programs until the government or the state says, well, we can't afford to pay this program because there's not enough money coming in. It's always something. So, in the meantime, People are going to have to learn that they have to live in their means. They can't just sit there. I know my one brother, he wants to get on disability so he can live a comfortable life. Well, right now, it's not comfortable. You think they're going to sit there and say, oh, well, this guy wants disability, let's rubber stamp him. No, they're going to sit there and say, oh, government shut down, let's just delay it. Every day, the pile gets higher. People can go online, apply for disability benefits. Then it's stacked in a thing. Let's just say the government reopens 18 months from now. Let's just say there's 680,000 cases to be applied, or 200,000, or, sorry, I meant 2 million new disability cases, and 6 million retired people ready to go. And they're working just to get approved, and they're like, oh, sorry, we were shut down. Every day I heard the government shut down my Social Security. It's like 14 to 28 days per day that they're backlogged. And then, my doctor brother, oh, it's more money when they give me my benefits. They could turn around and say, no benefits for you. I mean, look, government's already saying, well, food stamps go away, not a problem. Blame the Democrats. The thing is, the Democrats don't have a plan. See, that's the problem. They don't have a plan. Their plan is, well, we're going to fight for health care. Yeah, because what is they got to lose? Health care pays for sex changes. That's it. And certain programs. Government people, they don't want to pay for it. What do they want to pay for? They don't want to sit there and see people sitting there going, I mean, you know why the good Lord is screwed? I think that's what Chris, one of my moderators, was saying. Where's the proof? He's pissed because everyone's on their damn phone. They're like, I was at the clinic the other day and this is what happened. And I'm sitting there going, oh, did I get an email? Oh, I didn't get an email today. Okay, no email. Meanwhile, I'm waiting to go in, and then I find out Chloe's like, oh, we're at the wrong area. So I get up, and the lady's like, oh, you got to go upstairs. I go upstairs, see, with their phone. I'm going, old people, one guy's like, I'm like, hey, buddy, what are you, bored? You got to play the ringtone? Oh, I'm bored. Playing with my ringtone. Trying to choose a new one for today. Going to another place, and there. Lady's like, oh, no, you got to go there. After 4 tries. Oh, yes, we've been waiting for you. We're behind schedule a bit, so that's good timing. Even the nurses. Can I use the restroom? Okay. Meanwhile, in the restroom, I hear another person. Oh, yeah. I'm thinking, God. People are on their phones. That's all they do. God sitting upstairs saying, you're always on technology. You don't worship me. I always say, praise Allah, praise Elohim, praise Jehovah, praise Yahweh. Praise the Almighty. Meanwhile, I try to make the best decisions possible. Guess what happens? Yeah, I'll tell you what happens. The economy, right? Food stamps get cut off. Stores go belly up. Walmart takes a hit. Fires half their employees because they're not getting paid anymore from the government for their 50% off food stamps. Amazon takes a massive hit, cans those people. Those people go into unemployment for a while trying to find a job, and then they find out there's not many jobs around because everything's becoming automated or AI controlled, which means you may be lucky if you're going to be working at a fast food joint, which the fast food joints hypothetically will fail eventually within 18 to 24 months because, well, we may have another depression because apparently there's not enough jobs in the country because everything's outsourced. So what are they going to do when no one can afford a Big Mac burger? And then the government phone service shuts down, right? And then you hear people say, oh, well, we're on disability, it's all good. Meanwhile, you hear stories of the suburbs. HUD cut 86%, supposedly. Then it's 92%. Then it's 96%. Then all of a sudden you see tent cities everywhere. And then you hear, these violent people, we got to round them up, insurrection law, whatever, right? All because the government decides they want to get rid of the homeless people. But then people like me, people like the Higgins, people like Chris, people like Pee-wee and her husband, we're all homeless. We're disabled homeless or worthless eaters. We're all rounded up because, well, apparently we have no place to live because the government slowly took away our housing. First it was the old thing goes, at first it was the Jews, but I wasn't a Jew. Well, first it was they took away the Medicaid. Well, I'm not on Medicaid. Then they took away food stamps. I got very little, so it didn't matter to me. Then they took away the Obama phones. I just kept buying me an affordable one. Eventually it gets to the point where then they rounded up the worthless eaters on Medicare. I mean, think about it. The government, and if you lose Medicare and you're still good, and they're like, oh, well, we still got to cut corners, and finally it'd be like, then they rounded up everyone on HUD, but I wasn't on HUD. Then they rounded up everyone in the USDA. Yeah, so that is what could be coming down the pipe. And a lot of people think, well, it doesn't affect me, I have a house. Really? But they could still knock on your door and be like, oh, yeah, you're Madeline Pee-wee, you're coming with us because you're an old lady. And I love my sister Pee-wee. And you're an old lady, you and your husband are old ladies and old men. We're dragging you out because you're on disability. I mean, it could happen. They could just choose anyone they want to round up. The problem is, again, we're in a time where you have to prep. People didn't prep. They said, the food stamps, the government will never take them away. Well, that's what they said, and then it was too late. I mean, literally, I'd like to see that crusty face, the crusties around here. I have one lady that tells me that she's so worried that, it was a buffer. But I guess she doesn't have to worry if she can afford a new TV and a new computer and Christmas presents for her grandkids and kids, and she's better off than most people. Again, being sarcastic here. But eventually they'll cut corners. They'll cut out programs. They'll say, you have to be pre-approved for this, pre-approved for that, pre-approved for this, pre-approved for that, pre-approved for this. Eventually they'll still be in charge, and you're going to see less services or less benefits. And that's the problem we have in this country. I mean, the repercussion is take away one, it eventually take away for all. Now, a lot of people say, we don't need it because we don't have freeloaders. Really? Then what happens if the freeloaders all get picked up and you get to the age where they're like, thanks for your service for working for us for years. We're taking you away now, capping you because you're worthless now too. I mean, literally, it could happen. They could just sit there and say, well, after a certain age, we're getting rid of you. It'd be like trying to survive and turning you into green crackers like Soylent Green. That was a good movie, by the way. Soylent Green. Yeah. So, surprised they didn't remake that one. But you get the idea, people. So, point is there's a repercussion for everything. And that repercussion is damning. Literally. A lot of people sit there and they've been messaging me, what do we do? We're going to lose benefits. Or lose food stamps. Told you, keep prepping. But no, you thought I was a fake prepper. Rita the fake prepper. And all of a sudden, you find out Rita's not a fake prepper when she's got more beans and rice than you guys. And you're sitting there going, okay. I mean, look at Chris. Chris is like, I got the Japanese samurai sword. Woo. And everyone's going to take my food. Someone could if they were armed. What do? Use the blade to block a bullet? Bullet may basically go through the blade and then into you anyways. I mean, I'm not saying it would. I don't condone violence, but oh my God. I mean, in this day and age, my friends, you got to ask yourself, how much are you willing to take for granted? I mean, I was in the 80s, right? We had limousines with TVs in the back. Do you see cars these days with TVs? No. Everyone streams everything. They want everything to be connected. And then they want to ban things like the flip phone because, you can't be flip phone, you can't track. You can, but it's barely hard edible to track. And then you have other issues like, quote unquote, your orders. That's it. You have your orders and then you have your orders. And you have your orders. I mean, look. The bottom line is, my friends, For Halloween, it's not spooky except for people are scared. Why are they scared? It's not the haunted house. They're afraid of the haunted government who's going to take away their benefits. And, and they have a right to. I mean, literally. I mean, there's people out there that are more scared than you can think of. Yeah. I mean, if they keep going down this path and you say, oh, well, government will reopen, really. So how many people are going to sit there, people, and contact their representatives and say, I want you guys to open. I need my food stamps. They're not going to do that. You're going to sit there and be like, oh, healthcare is the most important thing in the country. Really? Why don't you just say the healthcare department, as we know it, is bankrupt? Take away all the healthcare. People go there uninsured. What are they going to get? And so they're going to make new rules. Oh, we're going to take your TV because we could get $2 for it. Yeah. Or, oh, you have a house. We'll just take that. And then find out the house is already being repossessed because they can't afford it because they don't have a job. Then the bank goes, sorry, you can't have it, to the hospital. And the hospital says, but no. That's already repossessed. I mean, we're going to see a country that's going to fail miserably because people buy everything on credit. I mean, is that what a country is supposed to? We're supposed to be sustaining ourselves. Instead, people don't even think about it. They think, the country's great, we'll just finance everything. And then all of a sudden, you can't finance everything and you're going bankrupt. Yeah, I mean, everyone was financing everything, and, well, you heard what happened, right? So it's... So, yeah, so then, you have all these people that they say that they need a reaction force by the National Guard because they want to declare insurrection when food stamps run out. The thing is you don't basically cause an insurrection if you don't. First, who's going to cause an insurrection? I mean, we've been a socialistic country for years. We socialize and we social. We're a socialistic country where we do socialized funding. We subsidize everything. Housing? People came up with the idea, we'll just do all these programs and then you get housing and people get housing and people get this and money goes. Then there's the other people that say, if that's the case, we want the food stamps. With the food stamps now go into the government gives it to the grocery stores and the grocery stores can make more money. But instead, now that that's going away, the grocery stores are sitting there thinking, what happens? I'll tell you what happened. There's too much corporate greed in the world. You build 29 million grocery stores. No offense, I just threw a number up there. And then you're going to see a lot of the mom and pop ones fail. Back in the day, it's cash on the barrel. Nowadays, it's EBT and the government cuts a check to the thing and it goes into a special bank account and the people get the groceries. And what happens? Back in the day, food stamps was simple. You got X amount a year, X amount a month. Go in, you get your food, you walk out, right? Then they put it on a card, but then the government says, oh yeah, and all of a sudden the store says, oh, we got to pay more wages, we can do this, we can upgrade, we can do this, we can make our store better. We'll just raise our food rates. Now they raise it to the point where people aren't buying. The food bank gets donations, 90% of rotten vegetables are nearly rotten. And then when you're like, oh, fried eggs and onion, you open up that onion, it's like, and you're going, looked good on the outside, but rotten in the inside. So, the point is, people, is you're going to see a lot of government programs being shut down because the Democrats, they're not fighting for you. They're fighting for health care. For whatever reason, that's what they're tooting their horn for, is health care. We're tooting our horn for health care. Health care is important. Yeah, to me, it doesn't matter. That's the thing. Health care doesn't matter. The trans people, I gotta be accepted as a woman or else. And then you hear people message me, you're not a real woman because you don't act like a man. Look at me, I'm cute, hot, and gorgeous, and I had all the surgery and boob implants, and I'm a real woman. And then the guy basically nearly murders them, and they're like, oh, well, we need protection because we were attacked. Because I'm so cute. Thing is, I don't sugarcoat things, okay? I know a lady attacked me the other day and said, oh, you're going to fear me. No, I don't. The only thing you should be fearing is Uncle Sam. Anywho, the bottom line is, these people all over the place, subsidized housing, non-subsidized housing, food stamps, Medicaid, Medicare. Medicare, you're safe. Medicaid, if you don't follow through, it doesn't work. I mean, I had a friend of mine say, oh, I lost my Medicaid and I need to get it fixed. The government says that the program is frozen right now here in the state of Washington and I need my Medicaid and I got canceled. So hurry up and die. That's what one guy said. And then he's like, oh, I need food stamps and stuff. They're like, well, if you didn't have to buy cases and cases of vodka and booze, like beer, you'd be affording it. That's the other thing. All these people on these addictions, people say, oh, they have an addiction. Really? Then send them into a mental hospital. Oh, the mental hospital can't be taken because there's too many people already in the mental hospital because too much depression. Too much depression equals depression and possible because they're all unhappy because the government took away their food stamps. Look, I've seen a lot of negative comments out there on YouTube, but I want to address a few of them tonight. One is, the government isn't the people's babysitter. That's true. The government should not be... You shouldn't rely on the government to feed you. Yeah, a lot of people think that way. My family thinks that way. My family also thinks other things, but we won't go into details because every time you turn around, my family's upset about something I said or done. Those other ones, cheese and some lettuce too. Those are pretty tasty. Tomorrow's dinner, what are these? We got enchiladas, roasted poblanos, enchilada cheese, and an enchilada mole. Now I may sample them all tomorrow just because, another 6. Ha ha! That gives me an enchilada fest for Saturday. Okay. Anywho, hey Mop, how you doing, baby? Yeah, I saw the presents you left me. I'm not mad at you. Oh yeah, you're a good dog. Anyways, where was I? Good coffee. So the bottom line is, my friends, I gotta order coffee tonight. That's another expense. The bottom line is, my friends, is the government could take away food stamps. Problem is, I've been told 6 months ago to prep for something like this is the start. You guys didn't. Now you think it's the apocalypse because food stamps are being taken away the day before November 1st, Halloween. It's so scary. We're going to lose our health care because of it. Really, a lot of you lost your health care and you're already complaining. But the jobs numbers aren't there. So how do you get your health care and work? You can't. So eventually you're going to either have to basically, most people can't even afford their own car or house. And that goes back to the point of people finance, and then they lose everything. Then crap hits the fan, and they lose everything. In this day and age, you got to ask yourself, do you trust the 1 million subscriber preppers that say you need this, you need that, and you need this, and all of a sudden nothing happens, and then all these people that believe in this guy's 1 million subscribers think that they're poor and they can survive, and they turn around and they find out that these people that subscribe to him as a prepper, they're the food stamp type, that they love what they're doing, but they're only prepping the minimum. All of a sudden, crap hits the fan. They're like, oh, what do we do? I mean, I'm going to have to start doing a video series daily, I think, about how to cut corners and costs for you all to get the subscribers I need. Because people like you, the poor, should be listening. I mean, I'm literally watching Tubi, Roku, and Pluto right now, free of charge, without needing to pay anything more. My subscription fee to my internet program is through my router. That's all I pay the internet company. I use the internet through my computer. I do my spreadsheets. I browse the internet. I order my monthly supplies. That's it. Computer closes. It gets shut down most time. Yeah. What happens? Saves me time and money. You guys, every one of you people, you're either screening some. My internet company has been looking at I have multiple computers. They're watching my bandwidth go down more and more. The neighbor's streaming more than me. I mean, literally. Me, I'm reading the Quran. I'm reading the Bible. I'm studying. I'm doing what I can. You guys, you're turning around. And, you're not realizing. Food stamps gone. A lot of people, you have food stamps, you get free phone service. Food stamps get cut, your phone service get cut. Then you'd have to get a job just to pay for your phone every month, just to be glued to it. But then you'd rather be hungry because you needed your phone service and your what do you call it? Crap, what's that word? Your social media. That's what it is. You're so addicted to your social media. Yeah. Is this what I think it is? I'll check it in a minute. Your social media. Actually, I hope I can check. I'll wait. Your social media. So, you know, you need your Netflix or your whatever. But then, what happens when your food stamps go away, right? And you sit there without food stamps, you can't cover your Amazon bill. Amazon cuts you and says, oh, well, you don't have food stamps, and the government's not going to let it. Until the government reopens, you don't get Amazon Prime anymore unless you pay us $15 a month. And then they turn around and they say, oh, well, because Amazon, there's people that require Amazon, we can raise the price. So Amazon could just go and raise the price, and Amazon can raise the price, and Amazon can raise the price. And then all of a sudden, Amazon's got more money. And you're going to have to make a decision if you're going to cut it. A lot of people are going to sit there and say, well, I may get rid of my smartphone and buy a cheap $20 flip phone and then pay $20 a month. And all of a sudden you'll see people with flip phones and carrying a book. And they'll be like, well, yeah, I got my flip phone and my book. Then they'll be hitting up bookstores and paying $1. Basically being frugal, reading more. And then people are going to sit there and see the used book market coming back and other things because people can't afford their phone service. And then people are going to cut their internet out. And then they're going to cut their internet out. I mean, the bottom line is, we got 3 years, and we don't know what's coming from month to month. This is why I keep telling you to prep. This is why I keep telling you guys that when people say, oh, where's Rita? Rita's not been around. I've been prepping for this, prepping for nuclear disasters, prepping for civil war, prepping for civil unrest. Just in case it happens, I got food. I'm still stuck here. Prepping. Everyone else, oh, well, I hope I get my back checked soon and get approved of disability. I can't live on peanuts. Government may cut off Social Security. That's why we're prepping. We don't know. Oh, they can't touch it, really. Just like the government's going to go into the appellate court. Like I said, they're going to challenge the government has to pass a bill before they can open food stamps up again and pass a bill for the insurance. And all the Republicans are saying is, oh, we can do in December, we can do a talk about the health care. No, they can't. Thing is the Democrats are sitting there, they're getting about half the blame. The Republicans are getting the other half the blame. I blame both parties because they can't come together. I mean, look, for years we've been subsidizing everything, and look what it's happened. It's crippled the damn country. And now they're like, well, we have to get back to our normals. Really, our normals is what? They're not giving us it. They're like, vote for me and we'll make your life crap. The other party, vote for us, we'll take away everything. Vote for us and we'll give everything back. And meanwhile, you got more people sitting there saying, I work hard, I'm an all-American. We don't have factories here. I'm working in the hospitality industry, and there's no money. Meanwhile, you got all these foreigners coming in that works from other countries. I mean, literally. I mean, thing is back in the day, Americans made more stuff. Americans didn't need food stamps. Americans didn't need subsidized things. Americans worked hard. After World War II, things started going sour slowly. I mean, literally, we had from 42 where there's war veterans and everything, and more African Americans were sent up on the front lines to get killed than others. No. And yet, people turn around and say, oh, well, at least we are better than them. Really? I mean, anytime we had police action, Korea, Vietnam, other countries back in the day. I mean, I grew up in the 80s watching movies where they're still talking about Vietnam. I mean, I walked in today, it was raining, right? And I made a joke, right? And this guy who's African, I said, this is sure Charlie's weather. And he goes, Vietnam veteran? I go, no. My father always said that. He's like, well, but the thing is, it was pouring, and when they say this is sure Charlie's weather, that was, George Takei's line in Green Berets with John Wayne. This is sure Charlie weather. Yeah, well, but the thing is Takei he's a great actor, and me and him, we don't see eye to eye because I said his best movie I think was Green Beret, and he didn't like that answer. He didn't like being a warmongered, pretend Vietnam guy who wanted to, it's like me saying Soon Tek Ho is a great actor too. He was. I mean, literally, he did a lot of great acting. I mean, being Colonel Yin in Missing in Action 2 was classic, you lose, but, and then he played in the A-Team and others, but the thing is well, back then, food stamps were there, but it wasn't, a lot of people on food stamps worked. They had worked, and they still had the food stamps, and they followed the rules. Nowadays, it's getting to the point where there's too many lazy people, and they don't want to work. I mean, people say, oh, Rita, what's wrong with you? Health problems. Literally. You wouldn't believe, but I've been through so many torture tests lately to find out why I'm having neuropathy problems and other brain issues that I just, the thing is, if I live 10 years or 20 years, I mean, I would love to talk to my family and say, hey, I love you, you shouldn't be quiet and ignoring me for whatever stinking reason. You should watch more, or you should, hang out more. You should give me a call sometime. I may call my cousin Corey before Christmas, wishing him a happy holidays, but I need to tell him, the health issues. But, trying to get a hold of him is like trying to find a needle in a haystack. So, I do these YouTube vids hoping he sees something and says, oh, I'm glad Cousin Rita's okay, But thing is, a lot of people think I'm a freeloader, and I'm not. I mean, I do these videos to tell you, the freeloading community, there's a lot of people out there, and, you got a lot of people say, oh, that transgendered freak over there, they're a freeloader. And yet, who's the freeloader when you see a woman with 6 kids driving a Cadillac, or 9 kids driving a Vet, and then driving a beat-up van, pretending she's poor when she gets her kids to school? She jumps on their fur coat and drives off in her Vet. Hubby used to say she was a call girl, but call girl with fake boobs, I bet. Whoa, man. Anyways, enough about her, but I mean, we've seen a lot of corruption in our world with me and Aaron, and the point is, I love Aaron dearly, and I love others dearly too, but the problem is my heart desires peace. And right now, we're not getting peace with too much corruption and greed in this world. And then there's people out there that do drugs and drinks that think that they're entitled to handouts because they're white and old and they're dying. And then when their Medicaid gets cut off, people say, well, hurry up and die. Or when their what's that word? When their food stamps get cut off, they're like, hurry up and die. We don't need to support an alcoholic, drug addict, pothead, boozer who does crack, coke, and meth because, you think you're entitled. There's a lot of people out there. One person said, I don't get food stamps because I bring in too much. Well, yeah, that's pretty much me. But the thing is, what I get is not much. But thing is the repercussions is worse than you can think of, because when food stamps go, a lot of people's phone service will go, and the people that have the phone service, they'll be like, oh, well, I'm in government subsidized housing, then they'll change the rules. Then, that's a prepaid program, so every time you pay for a service, like I have to pay, X amount communication fee every month for this phone, that's going into the Lifeline program for someone who needs it. And then, when the Lifeline program gets cut in half, and then they find a way to cut more of it, people will be like, oh, it's not cool, we got food stamps, and, 2/3 of us in the country lost our Medicaid, right? More people will try to apply for Medicaid, but a lot of the working class will be, they won't be able to afford it. And, then they'll have to work 80 hours a week or 100 hours a week. And, for what? Peanuts? Yeah. So, and then they can't make it. Then they'll change the rules again. Be like, oh, we need to give another tax cut to the trillionaires. Oh, we'll just cut out, we'll just raise everyone's property taxes by 80%. You can't afford it, you can go live in a tent. But where do we put the tents? I mean, we're getting to the point where this country is relied on commercial and residential people and industries that focus more on what was that called? My father-in-law called it. It was called the goods and service community, then the manufacturing community, and then they say, oh, jobs are coming back. Really, I have not seen anything yet. The numbers are, and yet, you got a guy who's trying to be there. You got 3 big tech companies trying to build $1 trillion empire in AI, specifically in giant cities that requires actual new mini nuclear reactors, which the U.S. government has to approve of, just to power it. I'm sorry to say, dude, but I do not want to be in a state that has. I mean, we have like one in Washington, I believe. It's in eastern Washington. I think there's only one. Oregon took it out. Oregon said, they had like one power plant near the highway that was removed. But I can AI that too real quick. I think Hanford was shut down, people. So, question for you real quick. I'm doing a live YouTube, so we're wondering, in Washington State, is it only Richland that has the only nuclear power plant in the state, or is there more than one, just out of nosiness? You see, in Washington, we're supposed to only have one, last time I checked. Yeah, the only plant is Columbia Generating Station, operated by Energy Northwest, is the only commercial nuclear energy facility. The context, the WHOOPS project, is a history. One of the completed became the Operation Columbia, and partially constructed in Satsop, Hanford. Future plans, there are no plans underway in Richland for new generation, except for the power. Okay, so basically there you go. So how many people are going to literally, basically, what are they going to do? They're going to hire 3 years or 5 years of employees just to build the damn thing and then can them afterwards, make them work peanuts in the desert? I mean, the point is how are they going to do, what are they going to do? They're going to develop, redo all the roads and stuff by poor people instead of opening hospitalities. They're going to start from what, infrastructure? That could work, but what happens when the infrastructure is all done and no one's using it? I mean, look at the way people are prepping right now. People need to literally think about the repercussions. Food stamps goes, stores usually go out of business. Stores go out of business. Then the phone companies lose half their business. And then the phone companies see their profits go down the toilet because half the people aren't going to be using phones. And then the other half the people are going to be like, good, more phone service for us. Then the other half the people are like, well, none the government can't track us. Yet the only way the government's going to track them is going through the library and then making the library more powerful so they can check who's logging in and signing into the internet, you know? I mean, it'd be like you lining in and going to the library, for example, and you have to do something, right? So you're in the library and you're in a corner and they can't see you and you're using the library's Wi-Fi and you're doing a little message or 3 on something privately, and all of a sudden, you know, you send it out to the right people. Next, you know, people's doors are being kicked in, you know, for example. I mean, that could happen, right? I mean, people do that. I mean, they don't want to use their own internet, and they don't want to use that, and if they know what they're doing, they can, I mean, it happens all the time. But the problem is there's a lot of people out there that are going to be desperate, and if food stamps are gone, and Medicaid is gone, and the stores are going under, and the phone service is down, then there's not much people are going to be worried about except for eating. And if that happens, I already heard HUD's not being restored, and the USDA is not going to, they're going to cut that down. So in the end, you're going to see a lot of homeless people. And if that's all they want to do is make people poor, I mean, here's what's going to happen. If the people sit there and they get tired, right? My adopted brother, Ted, he'll do it anyway, look at it, right? He won't care. He'll turn around and he'll spend money the way he wants to spend it, right? But people are going to start to buy stuff that is, anyways, my brother Ted messaged me. Infinity LOL. That's what I just said. Infinity LOL. He said 3 times LOL. I said Infinity LOL. So yeah, I one-upped him. People are going to start buying things in deals. They're going to buy things on sale. They're not going to buy things because they can. They're going to sit there and penny pinch and say, oh, well, this is not the price I want to pay. And they'll wait for it to drop and drop and drop. And then the thing is, people are going to start doing that. And if that doesn't work, people are going to start buying with their wallet. If that doesn't work, people are going to withhold money. And then the government's like, oh, yeah, we got $99 trillion in tariffs. Really? Well, you can bail us out, but you won't do that. You're just bragging about numbers, right? So what happens? The government turns around and says, well, we're not bringing anything. Now, China turns around and says, well, we're not going to sell you because there's no demand anymore there in your country. And then he goes and says, ow, 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 and then he finds out, well, no one's buying it because no one wants their Chinese crap, or no one's buying it because no one can afford it. And they're like, you know, so if you wanted to boycott tariffs, you don't buy anything. You just buy basically what you need and hoard the rest of your money. Eventually, people get angry, but most people, they can't. They sit there and they see this new deal or this new item or this or that, and they have to have it. Next thing you know, the company's getting richer while you're getting poorer and filling up with your house with stuff that, you know, you can live without. And then there's the other issue with other issues. Yeah, so there you have it, peeps. The other issue is people these days didn't put enough away for emergencies. And then they say, oh, we couldn't afford it, really. So you're an alcoholic. You could got rid of your drugs and alcohol addiction a long time ago and had more money in the pot for emergencies. But, I mean, think about it. When the government cuts out the food stamps, right, and the food stamps cut out the phone service, and the phone service cuts out other programs, eventually it starts cutting out things. I mean, look at Kyle Kulinski of Secular Talk. He said that, you know, they cut meals on wheels. Yeah. So our state still pays for it because the higher taxpayers apparently are paying for it. Otherwise, the Meals on Wheels have to support fat people. That's what they say. Oh, well, we have to support the fat people who can't get out to the food bank. And then, oh, we have this taxi program that picks up your food, which is great. But it's mostly for fat people. Yeah, I guess I can say I'm fat too, but you get the point. The point is there's people out there that are like, oh, well, you know, and eventually those programs will be cut. And then the fat person's going to sit there and be like, I'm hungry. I got to go and I can't get out of my walker to go and get groceries. I'm fat. I mean, look, there's people out there, right, that live in subsidized housing that deserve to live here. But then you have the drug addicts and alcoholics that don't deserve to live here. And subsidized, I mean, in general. That, like, you know, have like 2 or 3 cars and are like, oh yeah, you know, I'm cool. I got 3 cars and a junker. And I mean, literally. Yeah, so. Anyways. So. Point is, there's always a repercussion coming down the pipe. Right now, the repercussion is no food stamps. It's going to get worse. Yeah. And now the government sits there and says, oh, you got to reinstate? No, you don't. Because if you have $8 billion you can reinstate, you still are $800 million short for food stamps, which means you'd have to cut corners for the month of November. Now, what happens if November food stamp gets through? And the food banks get through, and then December they're like, oh, the reserve money's gone. Sorry, Christmas is going to suck. And then the government's still closed because you got the Democrats arguing about health care. Now, a lot of people say, doesn't that health care bother you? No, because I don't have Medicaid, and I surely am on Medicare Part A and Part B, so unless they raise my premiums to the point where my check is like $5 a month, I'm not worried. Because, you know, right now, there's nothing to be worried about. People are worried about whatever. My uncle is disabled. Oh, those are food stamps. And my sister's like, no, you're not. My sister said to me, how long do you think the food stamp debacle will last? I think it's done. Plain and simple. That one guy, what's his name? Michael, whatever it is. My brother Ted sent me a video on. He was right. I mean, without the grocery stores being subsidized, grocery stores are going to fail. Without the government giving money to the apartment complexes, the apartment owners can't afford their buildings, and they lose. What happens when the entire country is financed by the government, and the government says, oh no, we're not complaining, we're all of a sudden, Brother Ted, and Brother the Higgins, and Chris, and myself, and Chloe, and, well, Chloe's already there, and all my moderators, including Zoe, we're all sharing a giant tent going, hey dude, what happened? Think about it. Is that what you guys want? The good Lord's got a plan. We just have to trust the good Lord. But most people, they don't trust the good Lord. They think that God will... They pray to God, God, dear God, you're a vending machine. Let me win the lotto and keep my family's food stamps going. Food stamps that get saved for a month. And all of a sudden, God says, you prayed 1 month, but you didn't pray next month. And you're relying on the government. I mean, we don't know what God's thinking. But I think God's pissed off to the point where no one's self-sufficient anymore. And that is where he's angry. And that is where we have problems. And that is where when we wake up, the good Lord says, thou shalt not be punk. Yeah. So, there you have it, my friends. There you have it, my friends. I love all of you. And just remember, this is not the end of the world, but you should be prepping. And prepping fast and prepping hard. That's what I tried to tell you. I don't want to see you guys go hungry, so would you please not follow YouTubers that has 1 million subscribers that say the end of the world's here every damn day. We can get through this as a unit. We can get through this as a team. But the only way we're going to get through this is if you listen. If we don't listen, well, you guys go hungry. Bow wow wow. Ricochet biscuit is a biscuit that if it doesn't bounce back, you go hungry. Bow wow wow. Anyways, there you have it, my friends. Think about it. People are going to basically worry. And this is the start of probably, no offense, the dissolution of the safety net programs. If we get Project 2025 fully implemented, there's no going back. They want Brother Ted, brother, the Higgins, Chris, myself, and everyone else work in hot labor for 18 hours in the sun, even if we have heart disease, to die and pick cotton or pick crops or pick watermelons. Think about it. As an old lady, I want you to think about it and then tell me, what do you think? Pee Wee and I warned you a long time ago this could happen. We were right. And now, will they reinstate food stamps? Maybe. Maybe they need to do a year audit to find out if the illegals are getting food stamps. Maybe they need a 2-year audit to find out who's doing food stamp Medicaid fraud. Housing fraud. There's a lot of housing fraud in this country too, by the way, if you didn't know. You should check that out. I should do a video about housing fraud one of these days. Well, if that's what you wish. But you guys get the point. There's a lot of problems out there. So, remember, the repercussions is the country's going to go down the toilet. I think it's time I may do short 15, 20-minute videos in the morning for you guys, all of you. Yeah. So with that said, please add and subscribe. Please post comments. Please leave feedback, suggestion, hit the like, subscribe button. Souls and fun for your family, including your dogs, your cats, your bunnies, your service dogs, your service bunnies. Hit the bell notification, thumbs up button, subscribe button. Keep the comments nice, all you ask.